On first down, they hand off to Marlon Mack. Huge hole, 50-yard line. He's at the 40, still going near sideline. He's at the 10. He's at the 5, and he will score. Touchdown, Marlon Mack. Touchdown, INDY. And again, it's picked off. It's Darius Leonard. Leonard with a second INT, and he's streaking down the near sideline. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He's going to go. A pick six for the Maniac.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream. We have brought back the subscriber live stream by popular demand. We haven't really done much of these over the last couple weeks. I do apologize. Obviously, things have been a little weird for the podcast over the last month, me dealing with an illness and Cody just not being able to keep up with it at that time. But we're back. We're going to do it, and we have two very important subscribers on here. We have Michael and Grant. Grant, you're still muted there. Be sure to – yep, there you go. Michael, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Derek. How you doing? I'm hanging out here. For those of you that don't know, I'm actually out of Charlotte, North Carolina right now. I know it's a little weird, but being a Colts fan down here, but it's great to be on.
Grant, how you doing, sir?
Doing real well, Derek, man. Thanks for asking me to come on, man. Looking forward to it.
Hey, no problem, man. Absolutely. Glad to have you guys on here. You know, it's all about building a little bit of a community. You know, we enjoy doing this. You know, the subscribers enjoy it. So first things first, Michael kind of already mentioned, guys, that, you know, he's a Colts fan in North Carolina. So that's a little bit of a different story. And first thing we like to do, guys, before we even get started is with these subscriber live streams, we like to ask you guys your story of how you became a Colts fan specifically. Michael, I know you kind of told me your story beforehand. Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody why you became a Colts fan?
Yeah, man. So it's actually a little bit weird, a little complicated. But so I was born actually about 2 months early. And so it was like an emergency C-section, emergency situation. And so when I was born and kind of like finally, you know, had my memories and everything going on, I was given two different action figures. I was given one Johnny Unitas doll. I was given a Joe Namath doll. Joe Namath in the Jets and the Johnny Unitas, obviously in the Colts one. And I absolutely hated the Joe Namath. I would take it, I would throw it across the room, I would bite it, I would do whatever I had to do as a baby just to make sure it was out of my face. And I would absolutely sleep with Johnny Unitas, and I would do all that. And when I finally figured out what football was, my dad gave me that whole big small helmet set of all 32 teams. I found out what the Colts were, and that was basically when Peyton and Marvin Harrison were lighting it up. And ever since then, I just fell in love. And I've been growing up just being
Cody with the freaking
my man.
Bro, man. All right. Grant, what's your story, man? How'd you become a Colts fan?
All right. Well, okay. It's around 1995. Jim Harbaugh, Steelers, AFC Championship games. I just remember my dad almost putting his head through the ceiling in the living room. Okay, with the Hail Mary. And actually, prior to that, I was more of like a Vikings fan. I fell in love with John Randall. My family's from out in the middle of the cornfields out there. So, but that run and that team and that almost catch and that whole situation, man, that got me in. And really from then on, it was all Colts all the time. And, you know, then shortly after that, we draft Peyton Manning, and he changed the game. And so, you know, it's the rest is history for sure.
Yeah, I know Michael and I were talking about it off stream that we've been fortunate as Colts fans for the long quarterback history that the Colts have had to deal with. Speaking of which, another question I always like to ask. Chat's gonna hate me for this, but I have to ask it, because I do every time the subscribers are on here, because I find it as a good way to kind of connect with other Colts fans, because every Colts fan can understand where they were at when this happened. So I'm going to ask you about what happened, where you were, what you were doing, what was your reaction when the Andrew Luck decided to abruptly retire last season. I've told my story several times that, you know, I was at my parents' house and I was taking a shower. My friend's blowing up my phone about it. And I was I was literally just telling him that's not true. There's no way.
Yeah.
That would never happen. And then sure enough, it did. And I told Colts fans that was probably the second worst night of my life. So that was bad. But look, I know a lot of Colts fans don't like to talk about it, but I do like getting the understanding of what everybody was feeling. So like, Grant, what was your reaction? What were you doing? How did you feel about it?
Well, you know, I think I turned the game off, or because obviously there's a game going on, and you knew before that. So it was all calf. It was all, is he going to start the game? Is Jacoby going to play a couple games of that season to start that season? Right. He comes out and he does the high knees before that game, and he starts to show that okay, he can, maybe he's going to play. And I don't exactly know where I was, but I remember the emotion that washed over me when the alert came, and you look down at your phone, and it's just a laugh of like, this. That's my life. That's how this is going to happen. This is, it's like, chuckle to yourself. You've got to be expletive kidding me right now.
Yeah.
You've got to be kidding me right now that this happened. And it's like a chuckle. It's like is this like a you spelled Schefter wrong and someone got duped by Barry or something like that on Twitter but no. So yeah, it was like a chuckle and are you serious? And then try to go find out that it was fake, and I still haven't found that link.
The entire time that Luck was saying he's got this calf injury, that Luck's not getting better, he's not doing any of this stuff, while we were still seeing like some videos of him throwing the ball, I knew something was up. I knew something was going on to where he wasn't saying much. I thought genuinely it was an injury that he wasn't really mentioning it like he used to do. But man, I got that message from Adam Schefter, the brief report thing from Adam Schefter. I screamed, "No, what are you talking about?" I threw my phone at my Patriots roommate, who I mentioned earlier. I was like, "Is this real?" I closed my door, and he opened up. I wish I had the picture on me. I was looking for the picture, but he has it. I was holding my Andrew Luck jersey, and I was crying. And I had just in my face. I was just doing that the entire time. And the caption of his Snapchat was, "When your franchise QB hates you."
Yeah, I think, I don't know what Cody's reaction or emotion was, but I was crying at the end of the night. I was crying. I'm not even ashamed to admit it. I was crying. I was bad. So I'm sorry to have to reintroduce that to you guys, but I enjoy kind of understanding just people's reactions, because everybody had a different reaction, and that didn't just shock Colts. I mean, that was the sport world. The sport world kind of stopped when that news came, because, not very often does a guy that's one of the best at what he does in his sport just abruptly decides to retire just abruptly like that, when no indication of it at all.
And
it would literally be like, I mean, a Deshaun Watson retiring at the beginning of this season or next season or something like that. Even
yeah, it would be that same way
at that point in his career, And
all right, let's get into a few comments here real quick, and then we'll get into some stuff. Kirch, what's up, man? How you doing? Loyal member of the channel. What's up, Derek and fellas? Michigan Wolverines. What's up, man? Nomadic Brian telling you, Michael, to throw that Joe Namath toy.
Yep. I was raised right.
Chris telling Cody to stop hitting random buttons.
Okay, to be fair, let me explain myself. So I was trying to share it on Facebook, and it randomly turned on, and I tried to turn it on, and it was full blast for some reason. So I muted myself.
You gotta mute the other devices, man. You got to do that. What's up, Kelvin? Another loyal member. What's up, man?
I thought you just heard the word Peyton Manning and got excited. Peyton Manning.
Miles Brian, what's up, man? How you doing? Primitive saying, love that background 06 one.
Oh, man, we need more. We need a whole lot more to add to that. But speaking of, when Andrew specifically retired, the one thing that I kept going back on was dude, I know people have said it this year. I know people said it last year, but can you imagine this team with Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
Yeah, we keep saying that too. Yeah, we keep saying that, what would this team be with Andrew Luck right now?
I think for me, it was the worst thing was okay, we already suffered half a decade with Ryan Grigson basically not putting anything around him. And now he finally gets a team, and he's like, I'm done. Emotionally, like, done. And I'm just like, are you kidding me?
It was tough. Like, I understand.
The last bad thing to happen of Ryan Grigson, and he's not even in the building anymore. That's what sucks.
Well, it went around Twitter right recently. Like, it was one player that you'd give anything to see play one more game, and without a doubt, it's Andrew Luck. I mean,
Luck, yes.
I just want to watch him roll right and he fire a seed that 60 yards, and oh my god, oh well. You're supposed to have 10 more years, 10 more years. Gone. Anyway.
Flying back home and couldn't believe he retired at that moment. I just wanted to jump off.
It'll be okay.
Oh, man. Third day at college, almost broke into tears in front of my new friends.
Yeah.
That was a rough night. Yeah.
I feel like
I mean, Colts fans suck. I don't know what's worse, Luck retiring or when the Colts decided to run the worst fake in the history of play.
Do you guys blame Pagano for that? Like, what was?
No, because he wasn't supposed to snap it. He wasn't supposed to snap it.
I do. Here's why I blame Pagano, and it's a weird detail that I remember. It was supposed to be Griff Whalen in that position, right? And he was injured going into that game. So who was the other guy that was kind of like Griff? I can't remember who was the guy. Anyway, the guy who did snap the ball. It's escaping me right now. He had never been in that position while they practiced that play before. Okay, it was always Griff Whalen in that position. So just don't call that play if the guy that's in this high leverage position, this high leverage play call, isn't there. Scrap it till next week, Pagano. Anyway, but what we're trying to do right now is apply the cognitive ability of an actual competent NFL head coach, and it's no simpatico. So,
I mean, you could blame Pagano in the sense of why would you even want to run it to begin with?
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't going to snap it to begin with, so it's like, why would you even put them in that position if you weren't going to snap it? But then again, teams do that all the time. They'll do stupid snap counts that they try to get people to jump off sides. Like
Matt Nagy will try to run in 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
Okay, I had this thought recently, right? What was worse, that play call, or the Atlanta Falcons watching that onside kick roll past them this season? Stand there.
Totally the Falcons, because it's the Falcons because they completely forgot that
it is the Falcons.
They
yes,
didn't have to wait until it got to the 45-yard line to recover the kick. They are
like
the
5 guys.
They were the receiving team. They could get it whenever. It didn't matter.
5 guys watched that roll like 3 feet away.
Yeah, for real. Like you could have hopped on it. That was it. The game was over at that point. But no,
that's worse. I agree.
Especially in the context of the 2020 Cowboys now. Like now that we're a few weeks away from that game.
Yeah,
yeah.
You let that
it's not gotten any better for them.
Yeah. All right.
R.I.P. Dak. R.I.P.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Or I call him Rain. Pardon me. Sorry, that's a joke. His name is actually Rain.
I swear to you, I had a dream one night where Dak was actually a Colt, and I could be so down for that.
See, it's funny because I made a video about that a few months back. Yeah, I said because at the beginning of when Dak's trade deal was going, and they were like, oh, the pickup of the deal was maybe going to happen. They said if Dak decides to leave, then the Colts are the main favorite to swipe in and steal him. And I said, okay, well, let me dissect this. Is that a good option for the Colts for future? And I never said that I wanted Dak Prescott. I made the video strictly saying it was an option. Should we consider it? Maybe. But I got crucified. I got crucified for people even suggesting the idea that the Colts might go with Dak Prescott. I'm like, why not? At least consider it. Consider it. I'm not even saying we should.
So how do you? I mean, Yeah. What do you think between Dak Prescott at the beginning of the season, knowing that he could have been a free agent, and now Dak Prescott, coming off this demolished ankle?
Oh, after what I've seen this year, though, I mean, here's what I think is that he is definitely a leader. You're seeing that from the demise of the Cowboys now, is that he was the glue that was holding that team together. And, he's not a top 5 quarterback. No question. He's not, but he definitely has the ability to play football. He certainly can with it. I mean, if worse comes to worse, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But are we going to pay him over $35 million a year? I don't think Chris Ballard's going to do that. I don't think so.
I mean, clearly, I think he's only going to do that for those impactful interior guys. Like Quentin, no question, is going to be getting the max deal. I think Quentin's going to be getting the highest guard in the league, no question, maybe next year or two. And then DeForest Buckner, which let's go ahead and lean on into that. DeForest Buckner has been the greatest acquisition.
Mason, get off the
Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I cannot believe. I know Flus was talking about it this week. I know like Kevin Bowen and all of them were talking about everything, about how his expectations have been higher than what they expected. But I mean, just the tape itself, this guy's wingspan, it looks like just a giant vulture's coming after you. It's just the most insane thing I've ever seen.
When you're 6'7", 300 pounds, I mean, that is a ginormous human being. That is big. I actually have a cousin that's actually bigger than that, and that's a scary sight. So I kind of understand the size of DeForest Buckner pretty well. But yeah, so Michael, you kind of mentioned DeForest Buckner. Let's kind of talk like the first 6 weeks here, guys, because this first 6 weeks of the season, it's certainly had a lot of its ups and downs, right? There's been certainly been no lack of entertainment value when it comes to the Colts this year. There's been a lot to talk about with the inconsistent offense, with the very elite defense that we've seen through the first 6 weeks, regardless of whether or not you want to make that about who we played or not. But let's kind of just see here, Michael. I'm kind of interested to know what you think of the first 6 weeks of the season. Like, what have you thought of the Colts so far?
Man, you are 100% right that it's been a roller coaster. I've had a couple heart attacks here and there. I do think that Jaguars loss is going to come back to bite us, and if we're in the wild card hunt or trying to get that number 1 seed in the division. But outside of that, man, I keep leaning back on the defense. I keep looking specifically at the passing defense, and I attribute that to the entire D line as well up front, making sure that they're trying to get the ball out super quick to where our guys can try to make a play on it. I mean, listen to these stats. I know we haven't played the best QBs, but the passer rating right now is the first in the NFL. We're giving up 71.7 passer rating. We've only given up 7 passing TDs. That's first in the NFL. We have 10 interceptions, first in the NFL. We have 6.6 yards per pass attempt. That's 4th in the NFL. And then the completion percentage is 61.9%. So we are playing on all full cylinders. I know that Jaguars game was really, really concerning for our pass defense because, Gardner going 19 for 20. But the turnaround has just been incredible. I mean, those stats itself, that's downright dominant. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what our defense can do. I'm looking forward to making, instead of having second half adjustments, what can we do in the first half to try to make sure these guys aren't going off on us? What can we do offensively to try to make sure we don't keep our defense in the hole? We just really need to keep just pushing on all cylinders and get more of a fast start as well. And that's where we really need to focus.
Grant, what are your thoughts on the first 6 weeks of the season for the Colts?
No, I think it's pretty well said. I'm sitting here looking at it, and I think they asked Eberflus this week about the slow starts, and he talked about throwing your fastball. This is how he said it. He said you just got to come out of the locker room and throw your fastball. It seems like maybe the D line is sort of working up a lather, working into the into form or into bringing the juice at halftime prior instead of right to begin the game. But you think about that Browns game, we gave up 3 points in the second half, and that was the Bengals game. Anyway, every game the second half has been much stronger than the first half.
Yeah,
and really, interceptions are going to come with Phil, right? Interceptions are going to come. The one thing that can't happen is the pick sixes, and I think if we can avoid the pick sixes, the 2 big pick sixes have really contributed to these losses. And a couple of short fields, like the Jaguars, they had a really short field, and same thing in the Browns game, I believe it was. And I'm okay with an interception or 2 in a game, but it can't hurt us to the tune of a pick 6. And I think if that goes away, I think things start to balance out a little bit more. And when you look at when you look at the next stretch of games, it's tough. So. Yeah. It's got to be right now. So
this is a must win with our schedule coming up. This is a must win.
Yeah, with the must win. Yeah. Cody, what are you thinking, man? I haven't really given you a chance to talk yet. It's 20 minutes in. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. No. I mean, I want to echo what these guys say. I don't want to completely retread what they said, but yeah, I mean, I think things I want to see for sure. Obviously, want to see some of your guys get back and healthy, and it's been good to see Michael Pittman, Darius Leonard, some of those guys. Mo Alley Cox even practiced today, so that's good. Get some of those guys healthy. I've just been really puzzled, honestly, why the Colts can't run the ball. Like, it's weird. It's really weird considering what their identity was last year. Like, Reich was like adamant, we want to be top 5, and they were 7th last year or something around there. And then this year, they're like bottom of the league in running the football. It hasn't been like they've been awful necessarily. Like Taylor has had some good runs. He's had a pretty decent average, over 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
I just want to see them be more consistent, like not a 20-yard run and then a negative 5-yard run. Like I want to see just consistently pushing the ball down the field and just being more efficient in the running game. I've just been really confused by that. And then, yeah, like the defense, like you mentioned, Grant, the last 2 weeks, they've allowed, I believe, in total 6 points or something around there. So they've been phenomenal in the second half, but the first halves have been completely awful, like horrible. And I just want to see them clean that up for sure, because it's just really odd that like they completely go from like looking like the Chuck Pagano defense to all of a sudden, the next steel curtain. It's weird, kind of the contrast from the first to second half. So yeah, those things I think specifically are what I'm kind of looking for.
All right, let's get into a few comments here, and then we'll move on. The Colts beat Tennessee after the Baltimore game. We're the real deal. 2020, no questions asked. This is a troll. Here we go. We got the first one. We got the first one.
That's one of my buddies from back home.
Oh, great.
Cantrell, huh? No. More like Cantrell. More like Cantrell.
FAC, shout out to Cantrell.
Cantrell.
Says I threw up in my mouth reading that.
Yeah.
Hayes Waterhose, what's up, bro? Tristan Tillman's in here. Our favorite mod is in here. Yeah, Tristan, bro. You got to get out of the South, bro. You dealing with all those hurricanes right now. You've been hit by like 3 of them in the last couple weeks, man. You need to get out of there. Seriously. Let's see here. Defoe reminds me of William the Refrigerator Parent, but more frequently athletic.
That's a tough comparison. I got to bring my dad in here. My dad will probably start yelling at you.
No, I talked about the Vikings, right? He reminds me of a good old Reggie White. White.
Yeah, I mean, a guy that just can make that
the hump. Yeah, the hump move, man. Yeah, I'm telling you,
he did the hump move on that Vikings.
He did, man.
He made Reggie White very proud.
He's got 13 QB hits in 6 games?
He is only behind Aaron Donald for the most QB hits this season. Which we've all been saying it, like, DeForest Buckner is a top 5 defensive tackle in this league, and the stats back that up. Right now, besides Aaron Donald, there is not another defensive tackle that is making a more consistent effort and more value than DeForest Buckner right now, and it's great to see.
Yeah, name
He's
one.
PFF graded interior right too, right? Or was that just last week?
I don't remember. I don't know.
No, he's up there.
It does tell you something when we're like nitpicking sacks out of like a 3-tech in a 4-man.
This is a good question. Mar is asking the real questions. Quentin Nelson or DeForest Buckner. Look, I am never going to doubt Quentin Nelson.
I'm going O-line.
I think I'm going Quentin Nelson here because, look, I was watching the NFL Films one where they were talking about Quentin Nelson, and they were talking about him growing up. They commonly referred to him as their 4th and 5th child because he was so big when he was born. He was nearly 11 pounds, that is huge. And
they came out.
There was a video. There was a funny video. They asked him, "What do you want to be when you grow up, little boy?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big.
Big indeed. Quentin Nelson is big indeed. Okay, so here's a question I do want to ask. We talked about DeForest Buckner, and I think everyone here can agree that DeForest Buckner has been worth everything we've paid him so far this year. He has completely changed the dynamic on that defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the rest of this defense here, because again, regardless of what you think about the opponents we faced, we have shut down almost every team we have played so far defensively. And two guys that I want to mention specifically. We'll talk about the first one, and that is Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah.
He has the third best cover rating by PFF of every corner in the league. Right now, he has been, this year, the third best corner in the league in coverage rating. I mean, that is incredible, because just a few months ago, we were wondering is this guy going to even be good?
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to even be good? Is he going to even be average? Is he even going to start? Some people were saying that. We weren't saying that.
I love it.
Some people were. And now all of a sudden, he's been a top 5 corner in the league so far this year. And I don't know how many interceptions does he have. Does he have like 3? Is it 2 or 3?
I think he's got 2 right now.
Two.
Okay, yeah, because the 2 from the Jets game, right?
He should have had another one, but
like,
right.
I mean,
Could have.
how,
Yeah, 100%.
how impressive, Michael, has it been to see Xavier Rhodes look like the potential all-pro Xavier Rhodes that we remember from back in 2017?
It's been absolutely incredible. I mean, we were all talking about, like, are we going to get the Pro Bowl Xavier Rhodes? Are we going to get the guy who locked up Antonio Brown? Are we going to get the guy who was able to do all that? Are we going to get the 2019 version? And, I mean, he's been absolutely incredible. I feel like, losing Pierre Desir, I was upset about at first because I really enjoyed him in the locker room. I enjoyed what he brought to the culture and the leadership he had. But Xavier Rhodes has just turned this secondary into one of the best in the league. I mean, Rock himself has looked more confident. I know that wrestling move was not the smartest against the Bengals, but he's looked a lot more confident. He's looked a lot better sound technique. And let's just be real here. Kenny Moore is the highest paid slot corner for a reason, or one of the highest paid slot corners for a reason.
Right.
I mean, if I'm building a Madden team and I'm building like a specific defense that I want to do, I need 3 corners that I know can match up. If we got to go man, if we got to match up against their guys, I feel like our 3 guys can match up against anyone. And
it's funny that you mentioned Madden, because Xavier Rhodes actually got an upgrade today. He went from a 76 to an 80 today.
Okay, well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. But like you said, I mean, the whole secondary in and of itself has been phenomenal this year, and I think that has a lot to do with. I think it also has a lot to do with the defensive line getting more pressure consistently. They're able to kind of do more in the zone, and Eberflus has mentioned that several times. But Grant, what's your reaction to Xavier Rhodes? How amazing has it been?
So you sign a player, and they go the rounds of the interviews, right? All the media wants to meet the new player and ask what you're going to bring to the table and these things. And this is a pretty cool example of everything that he said is like transpiring in front of us, right? And everything he said is happening. He talked about it being a more simplified defense. It allows him to watch the quarterback through the progression. It allows him to react faster and play sort of the enforcer role, the strong arm role that he likes. See you, Quincy, and don't let the door hit you. But it's all he has 8 passes defended, which leads the team right now. And, he's the elder statesman. He's supposed to be the guy that's like sort of the Mike Mitchell deal, teaching everybody how to play, but he's also leading in execution and like on the field, batting balls. And if there's going to be somebody that benefits from understanding the impact that the D-line makes, right, that, these are going to be shorter routes, the ball's going to come out faster, I can look quicker and I can react quicker, it's going to be somebody with more experience like Xavier Rhodes. I think that's what we've seen is he knows how to leverage this, DeForest Buckner in there, speeding up the clock for these quarterbacks. Yeah,
absolutely. And then, we talked about Xavier Rhodes being, we kind of saw him, being that leader. He's been in the league for a long time, very experienced. He was at the highest of levels at one point. So, we thought he's going to do a number on guys like Rocky Sin and Kari Willis, guys, just young guys that you can teach them. And, Rocky Sin, in the time that he's played, Rocky Sin has, looked a little bit more comfortable. He looked a little bit more aggressive, which is awesome. You can tell Xavier Rhodes is rubbing off. But Here's another player, guys, and this is one that Colts Nation has been talking about
Juice.
a lot over the last 2 weeks, and that is the juice man himself, Julian Blackmon. I made a tweet the other day, and I don't think we're not understanding just how good Julian Blackmon actually has been. I'm going to break it down for you. December of last year, this guy tore his ACL.
Mhm.
And so 10 months later, this guy is back on an NFL football field where most people say it takes a full year to recover from something like this, but he does it in 10 months. And also, not to mention, he never got to do training camp because he was still rehabbing. He never got a preseason. He missed the first 2 weeks of the season. And in 4 weeks, in 4 games, he almost has as many passes deflected as Malik Hooker has had in 4 years here in the NFL. I mean, that is incredible. It took 4 games for Julian Blackmon to do what Malik Hooker did in 4 years. I mean, it's incredible because also when you think of it from a psychological standpoint, Julian Blackmon just looks like he's never lost a step. He looked like that injury never happened. It's just incredible to think just how good he is now. And if it wasn't for Chase Young, Julian Blackmon at this moment in time would be the front runner for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Michael, how impressed have you been by Julian Blackmon in 4 games?
I mean, man, I couldn't have said it better than what you just said. And through 4 games, he is the PFF number 2 ranked defensive rookie, right behind Chase Young. Like, he has been absolutely stellar. The main thing I really love and harp on about this kid, I know he's got 2 picks now. I know he's getting all these pass deflections. He's getting in the right spot every time. You know, he helped Kari get his interception against the Vikings. Man, he just knows when to make the play. He just – I know the clutch factor. They always talk about the it factor, the clutch gene. He just knows when he has to make that play, and we need that guy on the defense. Malik Hooker, God love him. God love Malik Hooker. I know he's had an injury bug, and I know he hasn't put up the stats that we all thought he could have. But, I mean, Julian Blackmon night and day is so much better. It is unreal. Like, the safeties that we have, like I was mentioning our pass defense and our pass defensive stats. I didn't mention the safeties. Those 2 guys we have are by far, from what I can tell, the best safety duo in the league. Like, those younger safety duo in the league.
Cody likes to hear that because Kari Willis is Cody's guy.
Right, dude.
And Kari Willis really stepped it up too. He brought up a stat the other day. Kari Willis, we kind of thought that Kari Willis was pretty good last year. This year, his defensive rating has dropped by half when it comes to coverage, which is amazing. And he has not missed a tackle yet this year. He missed 5 by this point last year. He has not missed a tackle all year. His tackle rating is 100%. I mean, Kari Willis is just silently been doing amazing, but never gets talked about. Never gets talked about because you hear Xavier Rhodes, you hear Julian Blackmon, and then you talk about Rocky Sin, but we never talk about Kari Willis. What is that beer you're drinking, by the way?
Yeah, so this is I don't want to pull it up for any sort of like copyright issues or pull up the logo. But,
it's okay. I got Mountain Dew. It's okay.
Okay. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Nice.
It's Sierra Nevada. I think it's located out here near Charlotte or Mills River, NC. Actually, is what it says, and I have no idea where that is. But
this comment thought Cody was Big Q for a second.
Couldn't pull that off, man.
Okay.
I wish I was Big Q.
It's the beard, I think.
Oh yeah. Grant, what's your impressions been on Julian Blackmon this season?
I mean, he's second on the team with passes defended. Pardon me. I didn't know who he was when we drafted him. Didn't know who he was. He was hurt, you know. So you kind of look him up and you hope he's one of those steals that you get where everybody passed on. You had the luxury of having some talent on defense, so you could spend that pick in that way. I expected him to play maybe in like 4 weeks from now, or in 3 weeks from now, and to see him. So you saw Malik go down. You're thinking, okay, well maybe that'll press Julian into action a little bit sooner.
Or like George,
what's that?
Or like
Odom.
I mean,
absolutely. I like George Odom. I was all for that. I'm behind that. So I was a little, I was nervous about Blackman coming in and kind of re-hurting himself or just coming in too early. And we got this guy, but he just looks strong and fast. And like, I like hitting. And what he's hit people harder than Malik Hooker has ever hit anybody. And the timing of the hits and the placement, he's not just hitting sort of indiscriminately and sort of like, we got like a Morrison issue out here or a TJ Green issue out here where we're torpedoing our own dudes out here on the field, right? He is like pinpoint accurate, knocking the ball away with clean shoulder in the breadbasket hits, and it's really fun to watch. Like I've tweeted this before, he might be the funnest player to watch on the field at any given time right now, for sure.
Cody, I'll let you talk here in a second. Hold on. Samuel Gick with the $5 super chat. With all that plastic on the wall, Terry's about to Dexter something. What is it with it? I don't understand where y'all are getting the Dexter comparisons from. I had somebody in the comments say that too. I think I lost Michael's audio. Yeah, he's muted.
All good. Sorry, I was over here.
I don't know why people are doing the Dexter comparison, but I'll probably have to go back and look at it again to see. But anyway, so Cody, I don't know if you've mentioned anything with Julian Blackman, but I mean, man, it's been fun to watch him play so far.
It has been. And, like we said, we didn't expect him to be back. Probably, we thought he might be back. And the Colts even initially thought like October, like around this time, he'd be actually practicing. And we're like, well, probably similar to like Kamoko Toure, probably be a little bit of time before he actually is on the field. And we even said, like, don't rush him back. Like you mentioned, Grant, it's like, don't let him injure himself. Like whenever he's 100%, let him out there. And I'm good with George Odom, but he has come on and he's a freak, man. He really is. It's been
another third rounder that Ballard hit on.
Right. I mean, if you can say Ballard hasn't had great luck with drafting wide receivers, he's had great luck drafting safeties. I mean, gosh, it's crazy.
If I had to choose, but if I had to choose between, killing it in DBs and safeties or killing it in wide receivers, anyway, that's just my nature of being a defensive guy. I would kill.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
DBs win you more games and are much more valuable later on in the span of things than wide receivers. I don't get the point of people thinking that wide receivers, you have to draft them in the first round. You don't have to. These wide receivers, they don't win you Super Bowls. They don't. When's the last time anyone actually won a Super Bowl and they had a top 5 wide receiver? I could argue that a tight end is actually more valuable for your team because I'll tell you what happened. Every winner of the Super Bowl over the last 6 years has had a top 5 tight end. I promise you, you can debate me on that all you want, but look it up. Look it up.
Literally, first couple things, like that's like, I mean, Travis Kelce, Gronk, two of the
Travis Kelce, Gronk,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I mean, they all definitely do rely on like having a good quarterback too. Now,
oh my God, do I look that old? Do I look old? Am I? Jeez, peasy. Sorry.
Comment.
Oh my God.
People are freaking nuts, man. I told you guys, they're crazy in the comments here.
Hey, look.
Salt and pepper. Salt and pepper.
He's a lot more money for me right now.
Do you know who this is? Like
Marcolini? I have an idea. I was
gonna say, because if you know who that is, then that's funny. But like, if that's just a random, because I've never seen him in here before, but he is roasting the hell out of you.
It probably is. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. The first comparisons I ever got was I played football I started in middle school, and so I started in 7th grade when I was real chubby. I played like right tackle, and so like whenever my helmet would come down, it would scrunch my face a little bit. And all of my friends would constantly say, because of how big my nose is, that I was just Ben Roethlisberger. And so if you actually look at it, and if I just sit here and
okay, I see it. There's a little bit of Lane Kiffin. It's like a Lane Kiffin Roethlisberger thing going on.
All right. Well, Brandon's been asking this question a lot, so we might as well just answer this. Question for you guys: who will have more yards this week, Taylor or Ty?
Taylor.
You think Taylor? Okay. I'm hearing Taylor. Well, I mean, T.Y. went on record this week saying that he believes he's very close to a breakout game. We know that all season he's been saying that, thinking that he's, going to be on his way to doing that, but hasn't quite done that yet. So now, I don't know.
Do you guys think is he still a little hurt right now? Like, is he still like kind of not fully recovered? He looks fast. He looks fine out there. It's just something going on mentally. It seems like. Like, is there something just nagging in the back of his head? I
also have thought. I've wondered if the delivery, if the shot put delivery really affects how he tracks the ball. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. And I know the sun thing is real, and that was real, and like. Excuse or reason, but if you can't see, you can't see. I'm sorry. Yeah. But I mean, and then there's other ones where they the DB from Chicago or whatever kind of owned him too. But you're right. He is getting separation. He is fast. It's not like it doesn't look like that, but it's like a weird catch point thing. And it's weird. It's wide receivers take or leavers. I don't know. It's weird.
What do you guys think? I mean, is it going to be JT or TY?
I'll go JT. I think.
I'll go against the poll. I'll go TY. I think TY
would love to be wrong.
Figure it out. And I don't know what it is that's been his issue. I have thought that this year it's just been mentally. I don't think he's there. I think it has a little bit to do with, at the beginning of the season, he was obviously having the drop issue, which we've never seen T.Y. Hilton really have because he's never been that way. And I don't know if it's just because of the way the offense is trying to go. I don't know if they're just trying to shift away from T.Y. Hilton and using the tight ends even more. I don't know. I mean, because this is just so uncharacteristic of him. And, guys like Stephen Holder and others have said they've broken down the film, and T.Y. Hilton doesn't look injured at all. He looks like he's getting open and making plays. He's just not getting the ball thrown to him. So I don't know.
Well, so to your point. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Grant.
I was going to say Frank Reich made a comment after a recent game. I don't know if it was which one of the last two, but he said he looked down and it was 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. He's like, "Oh crap! I didn't realize I didn't really utilize T.Y. Hilton at all in this game." So I don't know.
So to your point, I was looking at the target share that our receivers have been getting. I was looking at how many receptions they're getting from it. So out of all the targets that we have, T.Y. does have the most. He's got 37 targets from Phillip, but he's only got 20 receptions. You see, Zach Pascal and Nyheim Hines both have 28 and 27 targets, but they got a lot more receptions compared to what T.Y.'s got. He's got 17 missed out targets.
The first couple of weeks of the season, he had those 6 or 7 drops. So I get those, but it's just weird. It's very different. But again, we got the season.
The last game too, he had the touchdown called back, right? Because the Anthony Costanzo down the field because he didn't know Phil was going to scramble. Sorry, Anthony. How dare you not know that Phil's going to scramble and throw a touchdown pass? But and then there was I don't know. That game there was, and then there was something called back too, and I don't know. I think there was 3 plays that could have really changed the kind of the I don't know, the perception of how that game went. But I guess that's how it goes for all the games, right? Play here or play there type thing. Yeah.
Let's get into some comments here. He's gonna be laughing when they start reading the comments again. Looks like he has a Dexter setup.
Oh, there you go.
I'm trying to understand where the Dexter setup.
Okay, Derek. When Dexter kills someone, he wrapped the room in plastic so he could take the plastic down and wrap the body in plastic, dispose of it in a very Dexter way.
See, that's probably why I get it now. But look, it's an unfinished basement. And here's my issue also is when I hear Dexter, I think back to the cartoon from when I was a child, Dexter. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm like, what are you all talking about? Now I get it. But guys, it's an unfinished basement. Chill out.
Derek, I think I know where you secretly have been the last few weeks, so I won't tell anybody.
It's all about a good alibi.
Yeah.
Good Lord. The only time I ever come down here is when I record. I'm not even down here
Sure.
95% of the time.
Record.
Yeah. Did the video get that? Did the video record that? Okay, good.
Yeah, it recorded it.
Okay.
Oh man, come on, you freaking! There's a bunch of comments here. Everybody talking about my Mountain Dews.
I'm pretty sure. Also, I could be wrong, but I think Xavier Rhodes is a 0% like QBR on third down or something stupid like that. Like third down in particular.
He is not allowed a completion on third down, which is
unreal.
That's great. And anyway, I do go back to thinking about the 13 QB hits from DeForest too on that. Anyway,
yeah,
it all works together. It all works together. It's a beautiful thing. And
you just caught a lawsuit for copyright infringement, Michael.
All right, I have a question that we can talk about since we're talking about defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyquan Lewis, Matt Eberflus said that he's getting more snaps, and also Brian Baker said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really impressed by Tyquan Lewis, a lot. Like he was a part of that one of those 2 sacks a couple weeks ago. What is your guys' opinion? Do you think he deserves more snaps? And also, do you think eventually down the line he could potentially take that defensive end position away from Danico Autry potentially?
Yeah, great.
Definitely. Sure, I will definitely. So thank you, Mike. So that is the spot he will take is the Jabal Sheard, Danico Autry spot. I very much believe that. It was funny when he came in. I was excited about him. This lean defensive line body from Ohio State, and it seemed like they tried to crane him into a middle defensive line role, and it seemed, maybe it was just making this up in my mind, but I feel like he wanted to gravitate towards an outside defensive line role, an end role. And there seemed to be like this rock and a hard place thing for a while. They really wanted him on the inside. He really wasn't panning out on the inside. It really wasn't going well, like we all saw. And they've alluded to some weird, I don't know if it's off the field. They've alluded to some extra stress on him outside of, I don't know what that's referring to, but they seem like that's all gone too. But then when Brian Baker spoke here recently, and I think Eberflus as well, it sounds like it's gonna be end first and then inside rather than inside first and then outside. And I'm a big believer. I think it's gonna go well. He has a sack and a half right now in very limited snaps. Percentage wise snap to sack ratio. The production is definitely there. So I'm in. I'm excited. He's gonna. I think he gets a sack on Sunday, and so big fan of Tyquan.
So adding on to that, I'm a huge fan of Tyquan too. I think he's definitely deserved the reps that he's been getting. So on the depth chart right now, he is actually behind DeForest in that 3 technique. And so what I think they're doing, and what I've been seeing on specific film with DeForest, is they're lining up our D linemen to where they're making sure that Defo is going to be a one-on-one matchup. It's either going to be a one-on-one with the guard, or it's going to be a one-on-one with the center or the tackle, however they're doing it with their tight end scheme or whatnot. And I think Tyquan's been able to get some of those and be able to get some of those one-on-one matchups. If we're able to get Tyquan one-on-one on the edge and different things like that, if Danico needs a little bit of a rest and he's still doing what he's doing, you're right, man. I think we could have Houston, Defo, Grover Stewart, Tyquan, and Kamoko all as an interchangeable 5 that could just be incredible. And so having Tyquan to be there, even just for depth purposes, it has just been great.
Yeah, it does sound like they're gonna start rotating more now. So my definition of it.
Tyquan has the ability to play both inside and outside, which is great. He's got the size to be able to play inside, but has the speed and the power to get off the edge. And Michael, you mentioned it, how they're able to get those one-on-one matchups. The way you do that is by overloading one side of the offensive line. And they've been doing that a lot recently, where Buckner will be over the center, Tyquan Lewis will be over the guard on one side or the other, and then you have the defensive end on that one side. So you leave the option of that defensive end is either going to get a one-on-one with the tackle, or the guard's going to come over to help on either side. You're going to get Buckner most of the time because Buckner's the more dominant one, but that leaves one-on-one matchups with everyone else on there. And when Tyquan Lewis can play on the inside because of his speed, that's what they need to try to continue to take more advantage of because of the speed he provides on that inside.
100%.
It'll be interesting to see how the second half goes because I love Matt Eberflus. I've called him the football poet. I just love the way he speaks the game and talks about alignment, assignment, key technique, and striking ability. All these, anyway, gets me all jacked up. But he talked about the rush lanes, right? They're very regimented and disciplined around the rush lanes and rush routes, right? They called them routes. And he said he did a disservice as far as maybe even keeping them too tied to those lanes and not let them maybe use their instincts and kind of diverge off that, go get the quarterback and get some more sacks. So it'll be anyway. I'm excited for the second half. The Lions they rank very high in run blocking. Like on PFF, they're like number 1 or number 2 right now run blocking O-line. So it's like strength versus strength as far as that goes. That'll be fun.
I am not trading Brissett and a third for Michael Gallup.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that one real quick.
Yeah, like why I would barely even give up a third for Michael Gallup. Why would I give up my backup quarterback and a third?
Yeah,
I can do that and probably get a really good player at a different position.
I don't think a lot of these fans understand the importance of Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby is, first and foremost, he is scouting our defense. He is making our defense a whole lot better in practice. Secondly, he brings some just the culture he brings, man. I can't. When's the last time a backup QB? I know it was back in 2018. I don't think he's allowed to really do too much now with the defensive picks. Back in 2018, he was rushing down the field whenever our defense did anything, and he is so important to our locker room to where if you're saying Michael Gallup, I'm only gonna even think about trading Brissett for a Michael Thomas. I'm not you need someone like a top-notch, top 5 guy.
I know that I made a video the other day of, the idea of the Colts potentially trading away Jacoby Brissett, because Cody and I have kind of mentioned it. When it comes to your cap understanding, he's probably going to go somewhere because you need to make that room. But it's that's probably the only reason why I would think they would not want to trade away Jacoby Brissett is because what he provides in the locker room. That's the only thing. And not to mention, this year it's been more evident than anything. Regardless of your political stances on things, he has done such an amazing job of bringing this team together in regards to, obviously, what we've been talking about with social injustice and things of that nature. He has been such a pivotal figure in that, and he's just been, like you said, he is the other cheerleader on that sideline. He is the Darius Leonard on the offensive side. He's just the guy that you would almost pay extra money just to have in your locker room, because that's what he provides he provides that stability. So that's why I think the Colts would probably not even want to trade him, because you lose part of your locker room when you do that.
Right. And I mean, it's his last year too. I mean, if he needs that starting job, he wants to go get that starting job, go do it. I just don't want to trade him up.
Trade him to Dallas.
Yeah. I trust Eason. I trust the development of what we can do. But I don't want to get rid of him.
Hey, so how about this? So if the season ended right now, are you signing up for year 2, Phil?
Are you asking me or are you asking them?
I'm asking, all you guys. I don't know, whatever. It's not my show.
Right now, no.
I know, yeah.
Wait. Repeat that. Who are we talking about?
If the season ended today, are you signing up for year 2 of 17, Phillip Rivers?
If it ended right now?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
If it ended right now, probably, because I saw what Phillip Rivers can do, but it's only because I don't know what the future holds for it. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Colts go through, especially since we're only 6 weeks into the season, so we don't know what we're going to see from Phillip Rivers. But
yeah. I
mean, it's going to be a very weird offseason for the Colts. Yeah. Do they go with Jacob Eason? Do they draft another quarterback? Yeah. Do they? I don't know. Yeah. I honestly don't know. My dream scenario, I would love to get Justin Fields on there, but I'll get crucified by Colts fans for saying that because it's a Ohio State quarterback. So no, that's not a thing.
We draft Ohio State all the time.
And it usually never works out. But here's the thing. Here's what I hate. Me as a fan, I hate this. And as somebody that is so intertwined with the Colts organization now, this is what upsets me as an NFL person. I am sick and tired of hearing people say, oh, well, they came from this school, so that means we shouldn't get them. I'm sick and tired of that argument. The school does not matter. It matters who the player is and how well did you scout that person. It is your fault specifically if you pick somebody from that school and they didn't pan out. That's not their fault. That's not the school's fault. That's your fault for drafting them. I'm just saying. I'm sick and tired of the, it's Ohio State. We shouldn't do it because every time the Colts have ever drafted an Ohio State guy, he's never panned out. That means we should never go with one ever again. I'm sick and tired of that argument. I don't like it. And that's for multiple schools too. I heard people say that about Sam Darnold at USC. Said, it's a USC quarterback. We got to stay away from those. Like, what does him coming from USC have anything to do with it?
Yeah, I don't think Chris Ballard would operate like that anymore.
I mean, just look at Darius Leonard. I mean, South Carolina State.
Yeah, he came from a nothing school. I mean, most people didn't even know South Carolina State was a school before Darius Leonard came in. I mean, that's the point. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Cody, you got anything else for me while I'm looking through these?
Draft Notre Dame players, don't draft Ohio State players. This is what I got to say.
Oh, good Lord. You freaking Notre Dame people.
Oh, man.
Hey, the pick we got from Notre Dame is pretty dang good, huh?
Yeah, he turned out really good.
Maybe
you can't draft a guard sick.
I've never heard such like a resounding, oh my God, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer from like every person ever before he even got into the league. And he's been proving that like
right.
Never
it hasn't changed. Like it hasn't. It's only gotten louder.
Yeah, future Hall of Famer Quentin Nelson. Just every time like we talk about it, it's like it's only.
We got Sheldon Day activated. How about that? That'll be fun. Sheldon Day back in the mix.
Thoughts on Stallworth? So let's just stick with the defense here.
Let's keep going.
Cody and I have kind of made our opinions on Stallworth pretty known that, when we first signed him, Cody and I were at a loss because we're like, who is this guy? We never really knew who he was. And sure enough, I mean, he doesn't have the stats, but when you look at the film, I mean, this guy has been right there with Grover Stewart as being just as impactful as anything else in the time that he gets. I mean, Grant, what's your thoughts been on Stallworth?
No, he's making plays. He's making plays in at least once a game. It's like, turn around. That guy, turn around. Oh, God, it's like Stallworth again. It's like there were some goal line plays, and they're like high leverage plays. So, it's just, anyway, I love Chris Ballard. He's got an eye for defensive players, and he's making plays, and it's a cool little – it's fun to think about the difference between our D-line now and our D-line with, like, Jonathan Hankins and even Henry Anderson. I mean, these guys that just they were good players, but just nobody scares you at all. And now it's just we got a lot of scary dudes out there. It's pretty
and
fun
again,
to watch.
It just goes to show you how much emphasis Ballard puts on the defensive line. I mean, people keep asking us all the time, why does Ballard keep going after these defensive linemen? This is exactly why. Taylor Stallworth, a guy that gives you very good quality depth at that position, and most people didn't know who he was at first, and now all of a sudden he looks like as if he could be starting for most defensive fronts right now.
I was mentioning on Twitter the other day, our second line of our second D line could probably be a starting group for a lot of like teams in the NFL. Like that guy just mentioned, you got Banagoo back there, you got Taylor Stallworth, you got Sheldon Day, you got Tyquan Lewis is basically on our second thing. Like we have unbelievable amounts of depth on that D line, which is exactly right. It's what Ballard always wanted to have. Now, what I kind of get from that is, are we not focusing depth on like the other places that we need to focus on? I know he's adamant about getting corners like TJ Carey, adding Xavier Rhodes.
Marvell Tell's he's a player. That's a player,
right? Yeah, and he's wrapped it out.
I forget to realize that he'll be on the roster next year.
I keep going back to our receiver depth, and I keep going back to thinking our receivers somehow just constantly are always getting injured. And I mentioned this to Derek earlier, and I mentioned like if you had the chance to trade for like a top-notch guy, the guy that keeps coming back to me is like a Kenny Golladay. Like if we could get someone who we could just have on an island for a third or a 3rd and 6 or something like that, I feel like we just need that guy, and for more depth purposes that we're talking about it.
one, I love Kenny Galladay. Two, I want to see Michael Pittman, and I'm excited for him over the next month to see what happens there, because he what I've taken away from very limited time on the field is that, and this was one thing I was scared of, because he seemed like such a nice softie. He's like a softie. Okay, he's a nice guy. He's like, but his dad is not a softie, right? So that's in there, right? Okay, that's in there, and he definitely knows how to use his body. That's one of my main takeaways, is that he knows how to use his body, and God love him. That if he just accelerates on that and sort of works that muscle and boxes these boys out, he'll be worth. So that'll be fun. So, but if I can stop reading about DK Metcalf and why we should have drafted DK Metcalf,
or AJ Brown,
that'd be a great thing.
Or AJ Brown,
or Chase Claypool.
AJ Brown, and we pull over DK Metcalf. Listen, I like DK Metcalf, and I think he's a very solid player. I think he's got big play potential all over him. But the thing is that people like to make him out to be the next protege of wide receivers. This guy gets 3 receptions a game. 3 receptions a game. You're telling me that's the guy that we need to say is the future of wide receivers? He needs to catch at least 5 balls a game before you can convince me that he's a reliable, consistent effort. I get it. He catches everything that's thrown his way, but he only gets targeted 4 times a game. Most receivers could do that.
Now that could be the game script, but I see what you're saying.
Right.
I think people are traumatized by the Paris Campbell boy in the bubble deal that we so. My God.
Paris just has to stay healthy. We know he's got big play potential. He just has to stay healthy. And it's unfortunate because this year there was nothing he could do about it, because, his body was in shape, but who is taking a shot straight?
No. None of his injuries make me feel like he's prone to injuries, which is the wildest thing, because it's all impact injuries and what is he has brittle bones? No, it's just it's bad luck, and it's just terrible luck. And
it's coming like a missile.
Yeah, I defended him so hard after that injury, and I'm mad that I even had to. I replayed it, and I'm like, please tell me how many of y'all are taking a 210-pound man to the knee at 15 miles an hour when your leg is planted into the ground. Please tell me how many of you can walk away from that with no injury, and then I'll shut up. And nobody came to say it, so apparently they just it makes me mad. It makes me mad because, like you said, people say, "Oh, he's injury prone." No, he never had injuries at Ohio State. Never. He was never injured in high school. He was never injured at Ohio State. So where is this injury prone thing coming from? I don't get it.
When I think of injury prone, I think of guys that have injuries that would indicate a little bit of a lack of off the field work ethic. Just a lot of hamstrings, a lot of hamstrings, a lot of calves, a lot of things like that, which is just not the case.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a question there on the thing about Kamoka Toure. I don't know how you guys think how quickly we'll see him again. I don't know.
Well, obviously he returned to practice yesterday. They said that or Coach Reich said that they're going to probably get him to practice for at least 2 weeks before we see him again. So we wouldn't expect him. I am expecting him to be back by week 11, which, that's late, but that's
no, I'm with you.
That's what I'm anticipating. Yeah. So
I think that's the first possible. I think that's best case scenario as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Which team would that be at?
This is a good one here. Hold on, this one's good.
That's the Packers. That's the Packers. Okay.
Oh my!
That's a great question.
I think we can all agree he's going to have more kids.
That is amazing. That is
Ricky Runza.
That's so good.
Phil's dropped some passes out there that it's hell yeah, man. And we talk about arm strength, and I watched games 15, 16 last year, 14, 15, 16 maybe, and he's still throwing 40, 50 yards in the air, 50, 55 yards in the air. And
saying his arm's dead, bro, he's throwing ER bombs. I don't know if that's dead or not, but
dude, how about this? It was really funny to listen to what's the guy's name? Wide receiver Marcus Johnson. It was really funny to listen to Marcus Johnson talk to like Matt Taylor or something about the overthrow, and him be like, okay, like, all right, I see you out here, Phil. It was like that was funny. That was cool.
To your point, Grant, I was talking to Derek about this earlier. We were mentioning Marcus's stats. He's got. It's crazy that he only has 9 receptions because it feels like every single reception he makes is like a game-changing play. But he's got 9 receptions for 188 yards. That's 20 yards per catch, which goes to your point in saying Philip Rivers is throwing the damn ball around.
Yes.
And he is absolutely killing it in one of these long throws. And I remember last year seeing Zach Pascal wide open like 14 or 15 yards down the field. Jacoby just never looked.
I thought you were going to say 14 or 15 times in one game. Yeah.
And so, like, whoever's saying Philip is not throwing the ball well, like, yeah, he's making stupid decisions, but he's throwing the ball. He's chucking.
All right. And he also put it on
that just got me thinking about something. Okay. Those people after that Cleveland game that were saying, start Jacoby Brissett, they were everywhere. I saw him everywhere. It was the
you
most
saw him everywhere? Well, then again, I didn't see him everywhere because I wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
I was feeling bad. So
definitely everywhere.
Oh, Facebook is, dude. It's
don't go to Facebook. Oh, my God. No.
No. Colts Facebook is A.
That's a good question.
So bad. What's that?
Blow it in the fourth quarter again.
I'm excited.
No,
I'm
they're
excited
not
for
going to blow it
this
in the fourth quarter again because I think the Panthers are going to take the lead early and won't give them the lead at all. That's
see people. I know Ryan. He's a very huge Panthers fan. His dad actually works for is the head doctor for the Panthers, and so I think he's a huge Panthers fan.
I love. Was it Jeremy Chin? His first name Jeremy, right? Chin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
dude. That dude.
He was rookie of the month.
That's a great story right there.
Ryan or Stafford tonight?
Who'd you start?
Wait, why? What do you mean Stafford?
I guess he means Stafford.
Oh, is he talking about Bridgewater? Because Bridgewater's playing tonight. It's Bridgewater and Matt Ryan.
Do you mean Matt Ryan tonight or Stafford next week? Or
you would absolutely start Matt Ryan.
Right.
You'd absolutely start Matt Ryan. I know Stafford might have a decent game, but he's not blowing the Colts secondary out.
Let me just reiterate those.
Alex, you're a troll. You should. Somebody time him out just because I don't like it. That is funny because that is completely 100% false. But you guys can have your
So Matt Ryan and the Lions. The Matt Ryan.
I'm not going to go
into that. They have a -9 point differential this year, guys. I don't know if you know that they're 3-3. They've beaten bad teams in one. I'm sorry, however that goes. They've beaten bad teams and lost against good teams. But the longest touchdown pass is like 25 yards. And all the other touchdowns are like 15 yards max and then 25, and the rest are 1 and 4 and 5 yards. I'm not really – I think I'm excited. Anyway, it's been a bye week, so I'm ready for some football. But
yeah, these trolls are getting to me right now. There's a bunch of them here in the chat right now.
Matt
Schaub, and then we got a Curtis Painter fan in here now.
Yeah. That's the greatest deal.
Let's see here. Cody's saying you're going to ban Trevor.
Just for saying that. Curtis Painter. He wants to sign into a 10-year deal. I'm like, I might just ban you for that.
Derek and Cody, have you guys ever had like any like past Colts? Like I heard of Curtis Painter and I was thinking like, have you guys had any like past Colts players ever talk to you guys, ever like reach out to you to try to talk about anything, or like I keep thinking about like Robert Mathis, Dwight Freeney, guys like that, whatever they're doing. I'm just curious as to what.
Yeah, so this wasn't like here on the podcast, but I actually was able to like interview Marlon Jackson years and years ago.
Oh, really?
That was sweet. Yeah, I was able to somehow just be able to do that, and just like it was like I was writing for a company or something, so I was able to do that. It was pretty cool, but I'd love to get somebody like that on the podcast. That'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, getting Robert Mathis and Marlon Jackson at some point would be really cool. Got to get this one real quick. Jake McClain with a $5 super chat. What's up, Jake? Colts win a close one, 20-17. Go Colts. Jake, thank you very much. Yeah, Jake was on a subscriber live stream a couple months back, so that's cool. Glad to have you in here, Jake. And, okay, so probably go about another 10, 15 minutes here. I know everybody's kind of want to watch Thursday Night Football, and I got to go do stuff as well. But either way,
some plastic. You got some plastic to tend to.
Yeah, I got some plastic to cover up. I got to start on the drywall. can't wait to be out of this place Saturday, so that way when I stream again, all you people can stop with the Dexter shit.
Okay.
Get out of here with that. But
It's too funny.
let's talk real quick, guys. Let's spend the last 10, 15 minutes here talking about this week specifically. We really haven't talked about the Colts versus the Lions. Michael, why don't you go ahead and go first here? What are you looking forward to the most for this week, and what do you expect? What's a game prediction for you?
Yeah, man. Okay, so like we reiterated, like we mentioned earlier, we got to get on a fast start. Both sides of the ball, we have to make sure. I think we got to score as quickly as we did in that Houston 2018 playoff game. Like, remember Joe Tessera was like, how about that? Like, after like 2 minutes, we scored on Houston. We got to do that. I think we got to come out swinging. Defensively, I think we need to stick to what we're doing. We got to make sure we stop the run. DeAndre Swift's been I think he's got 5 TDs in the past 6 games. I think both passing and rushing. We need to make sure we stop him at all costs. I don't want to see any sort of breakout runs, which luckily the longest run we've only had was only about 23 yards. So hopefully we can stick to that. Outside of that, man, if we keep going to where we're going and Phillip doesn't make any stupid decisions, I think we can win this 27-17.
27-17. Okay. Grant, what are you thinking?
I like that. I let's stop the run. I want to see us rush for like 150 yards. I want to see us rush the ball and keep the ball out of Matt Stafford's hands and this and that. I think Adrian Peterson's a little hurt. I think Swift only has like 35 carries in the year or something like that, but he's averaging like over 5 yards a tote. Anyway, I kind of like I'm an optimist. I'd like to hold these guys under 20 points. I'd like to score more. I would like to widen this gap of winning, right? So I like the 17, but I'm going to go like 17, like 31. I really – the offense, let's go. If we can get Michael Pittman on the field. I don't know if he's going to be on the field or not, but I think we've really seen the absence of Marlon Mack. Like, we really thought, our line's good and we're going to be able to run the ball, but we forget what Marlon Mack looked like.
His vision.
The vision and taking advantage of these creases. So a bye week filled with hopefully Jonathan Taylor staring at an iPad, seeing the errors of his ways and taking advantage of these creases against the Lions. Let's go 17-31 and go no doubt and get some momentum going in here to hosting Baltimore.
Yeah, I said 31-21. I figured 10 points. I figured both offenses are going to start off hot. I just kind of figured that's how it's going to be. And then I think the Colts will be – I think the Colts are the more well-coached team. I think they're going to make the more adjustments on defense going forward. And I also think the Colts, roster-wise, just are so much better on paper going forward. So I think that one was it. Cody, what did you say in our preview?
24-17 was my prediction on that.
All right, and let's answer this guy here. So the guy says he's down $9,500 right now. I hope that's $95 and not $9,500, but
it's $9,500. If I think I know who it is, it's $9,500. It's probably more than
that. Did I bet the Colts with the favorite of 3? Yes, I think you should. Yes. I think you should bet because if the Colts are going to win, I assure you they're going to win by more than 3 points.
Yeah, we're either going to lose close or win big. That's usually how it is.
I like that.
Now, to reiterate what you guys were saying, we haven't even mentioned this. Our special teams unit, our kickers, our kicker, our punter, and our entire special teams unit with Isaiah Rodgers back there is going to be a game changer in a lot of these games. I think if it gets close, special teams is going to win it. I mean, obviously, Rodrigo's got the most points in the league, and Rigoberto is probably the best punter outside of Johnny Hecker that we've ever seen. And so, like, I am. That's going to win us the game if we need to.
It's right. Funny when Cody said 27-17, I said 31-17. I'm thinking, because really the difference there, I think, is like a Nyheim Hines punt return touchdown or something like that for sure. Yeah. To take us over the 30 mark. I don't know, but I getting over 30 is where it's at. As far as just
Michigan Wolverines. Look, I understand that sometimes the zone scheme can be a little it can be hectic, but the reason the Colts have been able to deal with it this year is because of the pressure being dealt by the front four. I know some people are saying, oh, we're getting pressure, but we're not getting that much pressure. That is not true. The Colts right now are getting the third most pressures on the quarterback in the NFL. The third most. I know the sack numbers aren't always there, but you don't always
rushing 4.
sack the quarterback. You're only rushing 4. That's right. We actually have the lowest blitz percentage of every team in the NFL because the zone scheme requires you to be able to get pressure with that front 4. It allows you to do more in the back, and that's what the Colts are doing. The Colts are able to do it. The sack numbers may not be amazing like what the Bears or the Rams will get, but consistently getting more pressure, which we certainly have this year, it has allowed this team to make more turnovers in the back end versus the sacks up front.
Yeah, no question.
I think that's about it. I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, we might as well just end it with the special teams note. I mean, it is truly remarkable just how good this special teams is for the Colts, and I don't even think we actually truly understand it ourselves. I mean, Blankenship comes in after with high expectations. Everyone's like, "Oh, are we going to keep McLaughlin because he did so well last year, or are we going to go with the new guy?" He obviously has hit 16 of his 18 kicks, hasn't missed an extra point yet, so he's been very solid. And you got something, Michael?
So last year, if Adam Vinatieri had made half of the kicks that he missed, we would have been 7-1. I think we genuinely lost the Raiders game. No question. They outcoached us, outplayed us that game. But if Adam made any of his kicks, we would have been 7-1. It would have been a much different, half the second half of the season. I feel like Jacoby, he did get hurt. He wasn't throwing the best. But, I mean, him against Denver, that throw, getting out of the sack against Von Miller and that throw to T.Y., I feel like last year would have been a lot different if we made our kicks. And so it's been night and day difference, as you guys can tell.
And like you said with Sanchez, I mean, people don't like to give punters credit at all, but man, that dude can kick a beautiful kick inside the 20 all the time. And then obviously, like you said, with Isaiah Rodgers has the most he's averaging the most yards per return in the NFL right now. And I mean, he's not even getting talked about at all. So it's like, again, the special teams, it gets no love from the national media at all, but the special teams right now is what's keeping this Colts team in games right now. And we all know it as Colts fans because Coach Reich talks about it all the time. He mentions how important special teams are every single time. So again, it's great to see that special teams is dominating in every aspect.
Yep. And that's a credit to Ballard too, because Ballard literally looks at the roster every single day. He's there, especially at the end of the year. All right, we got to do something about this kicking thing, and he's done it.
Got to get some AirPods, bro. Wireless. Everything's wireless nowadays. Everything's got to be wireless. What's wrong with some wired headphones, people?
Just sitting here.
They got to criticize you and everything, Grant.
I don't need to move anywhere. I don't need to move. Anyway, okay.
All right. I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. I want to thank Michael and Grant so much for coming on here. It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Cody, Grant. I love
Michael,
it. Thank you guys
absolutely.
so much.
Appreciate the invite.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys again. We'll probably have you guys on at another point at some point.
Please
just
do.
don't know when.
Whenever you need to talk random Colts facts, I got you.
Absolutely. I know you and your paperwork. I saw it. Thank you so very much for hanging out. Appreciate the support as always. We will probably be having a live stream over the weekend. Don't know about a pregame one, but I will definitely be streaming during the game. So make sure you all are there for that one. So for Cody and myself, thank you all so much. And as always,